especially with people that you're close to, you get to be more harsh. In a weird way. Like you should shut up. We're doing pride, and that is the sin of the devil. That's what caused him to fall from heaven, was pride. So as we're talking about pride, it's going to be referring a lot to Satan. In Isaiah 14, 13 through 15, that is the context of that passage is he's referring to Satan. So I'll read it. For you said to yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. So let's just break it down verse by verse. For you said to yourself, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. What is he saying there?
You're putting yourself above God.
Yes, exactly. You're trying to be higher than God is. Which is what?
Sinning.
Yeah, you're sinning, but that is pride. Yeah. Your pride is essentially you are the biggest thing in your life. That's the pride. And it says after that, I will preside on the mountain of the gods far away in the north. I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. Instead, you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to its lowest depths. So he says, I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. So he has this idea of what? Like, what is he trying to be like? He's trying to be like God. He's at least acknowledging that God is the Most High.
Yeah.
And so that goes to show how much pride is there, because he's acknowledging that.
But he thinks he's over that.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's better than God.
He doesn't think he's over it, as in like he's above God. He thinks he should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why he's saying, I will climb to the highest heavens. Obviously, I will means he's not there. So he's saying, I will climb to the highest heavens and be like the Most High. And then verse 15 lays out what the result of that would be. So, verse 15, and y'all tell me what you think of it symbolically. Instead, you will be brought down to the place of the dead, down to its lowest depths.
Yeah, saying that that's like the worst. That's the worst thing you can possibly do, and you're gonna be so turned around by the pride in you as you did in your face.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, just, I guess, taking that route, trying to be, better or like God, you're going to end up, in the worst spot possible.
Exactly. And it doesn't necessarily have to be if you're trying to be like God, but we make ourselves like God in multiple ways. Sometimes it's as obvious as I want to be the king of the world. Other times it's...
Or I want to be so rich, I want to be above everybody.
Yes.
But that's probably the most popular.
Yeah,
I mean,
most
shoot,
common.
dude, that's like being king of the world, It's just power, dude. Everybody has power. It can come in all kinds of different ways.
Yeah. And so that's what Isaiah here is warning us against, is that whenever you're the biggest thing in your life, whenever you think you deserve all the glory and honor, that's when you will be actually brought low. So it's what would be the counterpoint to dealing with your pride? If that's what would bring you low, what would bring you high?
I guess, like, bringing yourself low in your mind, like being humble and, putting yourself with other people, and instead of just trying to get up there, you encourage other people to, be better.
Yeah. Well, I like the part that you said bringing yourself low. What does Christ say whenever we follow him? What I'm looking for is that for you to live, you must die. Like
Die
Paul.
in his image?
Huh?
Does it die in his image?
Yeah. Well, I think you're getting at what I'm talking about. But like Paul says in Romans, it is no longer I that lives, but Christ who lives in me.
Oh yeah.
So he's saying what I want has to die. Like my selfish desires, the pride that I have to live for myself, to make myself the Most High. That part of me has to die so that Christ can live in me. It's no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. So now that we know what pride is, we know, like we've identified it, it's the sin that caused Satan to fall from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
Where do we see the effects of pride in our own lives, in the lives of y'all's generation? Like it can be general in that way, or in your family. Where do you see it exist where you've kind of taken notice of it, or you've seen it?
I see pride a lot in, I guess, myself, because I'll go back and forth, and it happens a lot, like me working out and trying to build myself. And I'll have times where I'm really uplifting and trying to help people out a lot. But then there are other times where I kind of get in this like mindset, like, you know, I'm like judging people, always like gauging how better I am, and, you know, like how I'm.
Even if you're helping people.
Yeah. Yes.
But that's just the humane aspect in that. I mean, that's just gonna happen.
Yeah, but you know, it's like our human side. It's still
That's
sinful.
what I mean. That's what I mean. I mean, I see myself doing that all the time. Like I was saying in small group last week, like, or a few weeks ago, like, yeah, a couple weeks ago, I was saying, like, I feel like I'm better than everybody else just because I don't drink or smoke or party. Just because I didn't go to prom and didn't party out with everybody and go to Galveston just like everybody else did. I feel like I should be the one saying like, yeah, like I'm better than that. Like I don't need to do that to have fun, or I don't need to drink and smoke to fit in with anybody. So and then when people ask me if I'm like, or like why I don't do that, because I literally tell them because I'm better than that, and I'm not like you, and they're like, oh, so you think you're cooler than us? And I'm like, yeah, I really do, because I don't need that. And usually that's like pride in itself, just me saying, yeah, I am better than you. I didn't really realize that that's like such a bad thing, and it shouldn't be like that. It should just be like thankful that I'm not like that, and just say like, yeah, bro, like, you know, I just don't really get it to that level to where, and I just think it's better for myself not to drink or smoke. You know?
Yeah, and also how does the person who's listening view what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what you were saying. Because them knowing I'm a Christian doesn't really hold a good image in God if I say, yeah, I am so much better than you, or yeah, I don't need that to have fun, and something like that.
I mean, even seeing it from a third party, you know, me being friends with you and then like being friends with other people. It's good you're calling them out. The way you're calling them out though, you know, like, you know, I'm better than you, that's what gets to me. And I've heard people say sometimes like, man, dude, like, dude, Dakota's good, he's got a good mindset, but like, you know, I just don't like how it calls me out.
Yeah.
It's kind of,
Well, let's break it down, because I think that it's a good thing. Like, if honed, if done properly, it is good that you have those convictions, but what is our ultimate goal as followers of Christ? Once we become a follower of Christ, what are we then called to do?
Lift your brother up in Christ.
Yeah, and not just your brothers in Christ. Like, it's to go and spread the gospel, to be an example of what the gospel is through your life, so that others may come to know Him. And so, what you're doing by not partying, that's a good thing. Like if you feel this call to not go party and to do other things other than what everyone else is doing, I don't think that's a bad thing.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I mean, like, you were such a huge role model, like, a year ago when we first met, you know. I was really kind of distant from God and kind of putting Him on the back burner and going out and just kind of not really being a Christian how I should be. And, like, seeing you, like, your mindset on it, it really, like, I was like, dang, man, like this guy's really got it, like,
and the thing is, it's funny that you say that, because I remember when we were, like, you know, started to be friends a year ago. I remember, like, that was whenever I was obviously super low in my life. I had the conversation with y'all, and I didn't realize that I was bringing people up like I was.
Man, you brought me up so much, dude. And I mean, you might have seen it, like, over summer, how we spent all that time, like, kind of refining ourselves, being better human beings, and
piggybacking off of each other. What we're doing in life, and just talking about it. Yeah.
Well, shoot, man. Yeah, you were a really encouraging part for me in that time of life. You know, you shaped me a lot, especially now. You know, my mindset's changed so much just from hanging out with you and stuff. So.
Yeah.
It's just seeing like how another person thinks. It's like, you know, me and Tucker being best friends is helps you, especially whenever you get another eye or another view on things whenever you're going through something.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But back to the idea about, like, the overarching idea, because I think it's great and y'all are close, and so especially with people that you're close to, you get to be more harsh in a weird way. Like you should shut up. You're living your life, and there's people, like, basically God's giving you
But this is pure life, so we get sponsored.
But whenever you're in front of other people and you're acting in this prideful way, which prideful way in this manner is like, oh, I'm better than you, It doesn't necessarily mean that you think you're the greatest thing ever, but you're looking at those people as like, well, I'm not as bad as you.
Yeah.
But Jesus says, yeah, you are. Like, y'all are both guilty of sin.
That's
So
the thing.
so there's no boasting in your walk with God, because you didn't do it. That's God saving you. And so he calls us to not boast in that. So it's not, just because you're doing the right thing doesn't mean you should boast over it. But your approach, this harsh approach, it is effective. But you need to hone it. You can't be this cocky douchebag about it. But I'm telling you right now, the culture in y'all's generation is changing towards that. Because a lot of kids don't have a father to call them out and say, you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing, I hold you to a higher standard. And this kind of like badass Christian culture, go to the gym, eat, get your protein, like that livelihood, that lifestyle of I want to be great and do it for God is happening. And so that approach resonates with a lot of guys your age. But you can't do it in this way that would lead them away from God. Yeah, it's got to be like, hey dude, I don't do that, and I'm not knocking you for doing it. I just know what's right versus what's wrong. And if you don't know that it's not on you right now. Like, you're ignorant. Not in a
bad way.
You probably shouldn't say that to their face.
Yeah.
That they're ignorant, because they would probably take it the wrong way. But they don't know what they're doing is wrong. So it's kind of, it doesn't help to judge them for doing what's wrong. They don't know the truth of the gospel. I would just say work on that. Work on your approach to those people. Like, think about it. You're going to the Dominican Republic on a mission trip.
Yeah.
There's people there doing voodoo. You're going to be like, nah, bro, I don't do that shit. Like,
You're eating those kids.
That's
No, I mean, it's voodoo. They do that. But, yeah, I think, like, exactly what you're saying, piggyback off each other. I think we're like good cop, bad cop, like yin and yang. Like, you really, like, lean more towards the, just the aspect of, like, being a right person. Yeah, righteous. And then I'm not as much like that, but I'm more into, like, what you just said, how not to judge people.
The thing
like,
is that I think we get along so well because you take that into accountability. Like, you accept that you were wrong, and I don't like doing that. Like,
yeah.
you say like, man, it's alright, I do it. I don't, cause the way I say that is,
pride.
What are you doing that for? Because I know that if I did something.
But what is that? What is
pride.
that? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
whenever someone tells you you're doing something and something in you just goes, don't accept that. Like, you're wrong. You don't know the whole story.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pride.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
I
what
know.
I'm saying.
I told y'all that. I mean, I'm saying that whenever somebody talks to you about what they've done, that, like, they're opening up and something like I've done, they're like, yeah, man, it's all right. I'm not like that. Even though, let's say you opened up to me, I would say, whatever. No, what the hell are you doing right now? Like, because I know if I were to do something like that, I would be mad at myself. So I feel like I should respond to somebody as if they're talking to me.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, like, how we kind of eat each other out, because you're way more into calling somebody out. Like,
Even each other out.
Like, even each other out. You're really harsh in, like, calling somebody out and saying, like...
It sounded like Cindy each other out.
No, even. But you're more like calling people out, like, why are you doing this? Like, you need to fix this, And I still do the same thing, but I'm not as heavy and harsh into it, So it's like, it kind of like softens it,
Well, here's like the overarching point that I didn't even think about. But to use Dakota as an example, if that's how you feel, I have to call these people out because I call myself out. Well, let's reflect on why do you feel that you have to call yourself out? And
I call myself to be such a good person. Like, I just get mad at myself whenever I mess up, and I want everything to be good.
Yes, and I think that that's not necessarily or ultimately a bad thing. Like, I think that wanting to be good, wanting to be right, that is good. But whenever it's, I'm gonna make sure that I am good. I'm gonna make sure that what I do is right. Yeah, it's all this. I have to be better. And that's good. You should strive to want to be better. But what it really comes down to is you should be focusing so much on God that you naturally lead there. Your sin starts to fade away as you focus on Him. If you just focus on, I like to use this example for guys just because it's so obvious. If your focus is, I don't want to watch porn, and you're just like, I'm not going to watch porn, I'm not going to watch porn, I'm not going to watch porn, you're going to watch porn because it's all you were thinking about was I'm not going to watch porn. But instead, what you should do is focus on God, and that way, through focusing on Him, the focus on porn dissipates.
Yeah.
You no longer look towards porn because you're so focused on who God is that you forget about it. So you can't just be this corrective guy. If I don't go to the gym, I'm a piece of crap. Like, you're placing stipulations on your value where God says, I love you if you watch porn and if you don't watch porn, if you go to the gym, if you don't go to the gym. My love for you is the exact same.
Yeah.
You don't have to earn this. So come to it freely and accept it. And I think that's probably the hardest part for men, is the acceptance part.
Well, that's actually like such a great example because that's like the difference is like Dakota will call you out and be like, you need to fix this and stop this, My mindset's more of like, well, if I had a problem, like who am I to call somebody out on that if I'm still, if I struggle with that, who am I to call somebody out and say, hey, you're wrong, even though, I'm in the same boat as them. So that's like the difference.
No,
I
don't like that. I don't like that.
Yeah, because then.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good. That's one thing.
No, I'm saying I don't like that. I think a lot of people have that logic of, I'm in this sin, and yet, so I see someone else in this sin. I have no right to tell them they're in the wrong because I'm also in it. Well, then how the hell do you know you're in the wrong?
Or how are anybody gonna get better?
Yeah, you have to, just because you experience sin and temptations and you act on it sometimes, that doesn't mean that you think it's right. And that doesn't mean that you think the results of acting on that sin is right. So you can tell others, like I do this with you guys all the time. Like, I'll tell you, hey, look, I'm just as guilty as this.
Yeah.
Like, I like to use my vulnerability to my advantage rather than hide because of my vulnerability. Like I know what it's like for you guys to deal with porn because I've dealt with porn. Like, that doesn't mean that I have any grounds to stand on, but I at least can identify with it. Like, I can relate to the struggle that y'all are going through. So use that to your advantage whenever you're talking about it.
Yeah, definitely. I really need to implement that because I'm just kind of like, I struggle with it too, so I kind of just don't say anything, keep it down, and I need to be more like you.